Hi, I'm Captain Mal.
Well, I'm Weapon Q. It's good to see you, Captain Mal. It's been a while since we did a video.
It has been.
Yes.
I like this. Okay, and today we are bringing you our official review for Joker. So, Joker is a 2019 film starring Joaquin Phoenix as the Clown Prince of Crime. This movie is the subject of a lot of controversy, a lot of heated debates on the internets, a lot of skepticism, myself included. If you should check out our trailer reactions that myself and T. Crawler did, you'll know that I was not looking forward to this movie at all. I believe Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor, and I thought his performance would be good, but the whole reason this movie was happening, the need for this movie, not on board for it all. I'm going to do my best in this review to not talk about DC Universe structure and all that, and just discuss this movie. As always, we'll keep the first part of this review spoiler-free. I feel like we're going to have a lot to talk about in spoilers, though. Weapon 2, what did you think of this movie?
I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you because I feel like a lot of times, well, number one, we didn't go see the movie at the same time.
We did, so we literally have no idea what we thought of this movie.
And I usually feel like I'm probably going to be pretty close to what you think, and I don't really know.
We're usually really on point, yeah. I tend to be a little harder though, but we're, okay. But what did you think though?
So this is what I thought. First, well, I had all the same reservations you did.
Yes.
I did not think I was going to like a lot about this movie before I went and saw it. And there are about 2 to 2.5 things that bugged me about the movie. That being said, this movie is visually stunning. Almost every frame and scene is almost like a work of art. The way they frame it, what it is, the angles they take at it. The acting is as good as the acting could be. The directing, I think the director, Todd Phillips or something like that.
Yep.
That guy, he wrote it, and I think he was a producer and he was a director. That guy is kind of as far as the directing on this movie, a genius. Now, there are tons of stuff that I like about this movie being a movie. Now, how I feel about it being a Joker movie in the story of kind of a Batman Joker universe of Gotham, that's kind of stuff we're going to discuss about it. But I'm telling you right now, from a movie of just the movie, I think this is a great movie. We'll talk about how I feel about it being a Joker movie, though.
Okay, so just to touch on that real quick, though. You didn't talk in the Joker trailer reactions that we did on this channel that you guys should watch. But what you said leading up to it was you actually felt like this would probably be a good movie, but it didn't necessarily need to be the Joker.
Right.
It looked like it was going to be a movie about a guy getting beat down by society and snapping and all that, but you didn't need to add the Joker character in it.
I didn't like the earlier trailers. That last trailer made me feel like it was going to be a good movie. And I still have some feelings around that. What did you think?
Okay, so for me, if you guys watched our trailer reactions, you know I was not on board with this at all. I kind of got a little ranty there in the first one. I was very against the need for having a standalone Joker movie because I feel like part of the thing that makes the Joker so intriguing and so terrifying is like the anonymity. Like you don't know, right? He says famously in The Killing Joke, if he has a past, he likes it to be multiple choice, right? And that's something that's explored in The Dark Knight, and that's part of what makes the character so intriguing is like there are origin stories in the comics that have come out, but none to my knowledge are official canon. I think The Killing Joke might be now, but when it was written, it wasn't. And so I question the need to have a Joker movie. Like my argument is, hey, was Darth Vader any cooler after we got the prequels? Fucking hard no. No, you didn't need to know what happened. And to a certain degree, I still believe that, and we'll talk about that in spoilers. So just my overall thoughts of this movie. The movie starts out, and I was very, very bored. I was bored. I feel like a lot of it was really slow. I feel like it dragged a lot in the beginning. I feel like they did this thing. This isn't so much a spoiler because it's been announced on the internet already. The laugh that he does, it's not him just laughing. It's actually part of a mental condition that he has. It's kind of
involuntary.
It's an involuntary thing. He does it kind of when he's nervous or in like an awkward situation. He actually has this card that he shows.
It's like Tourette's.
It is a Tourette's tick, basically. Yes. And the way they play that in the movie to start, it's comical. Like the scenes that they do in it, it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be creepy and weird and odd. But I was laughing. The beginning of this movie was everything that I thought I was going to hate about this movie. And at the 50%, like leading into the 50% mark, there are several moments, one I'll talk about in the spoilers, that had me pissed off, that had me livid, that had me very, very angry at this movie, so much to the fact that I was planning on the shit that I was going to talk in this review tonight. But then the movie makes a turn. The movie does a hard fucking turn about 50% through, which we'll talk about in the spoilers, and I was literally watching it like, oh, that was kind of cool. That was neat. Ha! That's funny. I don't think I should have laughed because I'm broken on the inside. What the fuck? Ha! Shit! Shit! Get him! Oh, I knew it! I knew that. Ha! Whoa, whoa. That was a good fucking movie. Alright, that was a good fucking movie. Captain Mouse, Seal of Approval. That was a good fucking movie. I completely agree with what you said in that visually, it is very artistic. There's a big thing that like true critics and like true filmmakers like to say about comic book movies, that they're not true film. They're not art. They're just bullshit. There is a solid argument that this is art. This is a fucking film. Joaquin Phoenix, and whose acting ability I never doubted, I want that noted, should win a fucking Oscar for this.
Yeah.
His portrayal of the Joker isn't exactly what I want in a Joker versus Batman type Joker. We'll get to that in the spoilers. This was creepy as fuck. It was interesting. It was weird. It was cringeworthy. The way they, even shit that they did with the lighting and stuff in certain scenes was really fucking impressive.
And even the angles in every shot. Even just him checking his mail. It's not just a straight shot of him checking his mail. There's like low angle, there's the angle of shot.
This is like kind of a masterclass in being a director and how you direct a movie and use visuals to tell a story. Also, I don't think there's a single scene that Joaquin Phoenix isn't in. Like, it is literally, this entire thing is his point of view. And everything from his body language throughout the movie and the transformation that he has is super fucking impressive. Like, I want to watch it again because I think I'm going to appreciate the first part of it more. Yeah. The back half of this movie, specifically the last half hour, was mind-blowing. Like, it was really, 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 really fucking good. I literally walked out of the theater, and I had friends that went with me that knew that I was not looking forward to this, knew that I was angry, and at certain moments were like looking at me to see my angry fucking reaction, were waiting for me to go off. And like, as cool shit was happening, kept looking at me also to see what I was doing. And as we walked out, they were just literally like, so what'd you think? And I was like, fuck, I liked it.
I think I have more patience and maybe an appreciation of the real slow build. I do agree that it was slow, and I kind of already knew you were going to say that.
Yep.
But I think for the story, it could have happened quicker.
No,
but I think that it was. I felt like it was kind of right.
It was what this story needed to be. Yeah. So I don't have an issue with slow build. One of my favorite movies is Ex Machina, and that is a very slow build.
Right.
But it works for the story that movie's telling. Right. This works for what the story this movie's telling. My issue was I wasn't on board for the story yet. I was angry. I wanted to hate this movie. Is my issue.
And I'll tell you, I came in kind of that way too.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I wanted to hate it. I was expecting it.
I was open-minded, but I was expecting to hate it. And at first, to the movie's credit, it subverted expectations because at first it was checking every box that I had in terms of me hating it. I was just like, oh, well, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I'm really fucking pissed. But it takes a swerve. It does the Joker character justice, but it's really an interpretation. It is its own thing. Joaquin Phoenix makes the character its own thing. It really is a standalone story. Like, it kind of can be part of a greater DC universe, but I don't think it's going to be that at all. I feel like it's its own sound. And when I was watching it, literally in my head, I was like, if this is an Elseworld story, or like an alternate timeline story, or any kind of thing, like not a main continuity story, which is kind of what they said it was, I was like, no, fuck, this is good. This is an interesting breakdown of the character. It's an interesting breakdown of society and how it could lead to a character like this happening. There's a whole like layer of like political shit on it that if we might probably won't touch on, but like it is an interesting dive. It is an interesting movie. It is definitely it is very much worth watching, I think.
Yeah. No, it's regardless of anything else you think, it's a good movie.
Yes,
it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're gonna. Oh, and before we get into spoilers, I'm gonna tell you. I think that a lot of people weren't ready for this movie when they go in to see a superhero movie.
It's not.
And the thing for me is, I think that we're at a point. In fact, I think we're past the point where superhero movies are a genre, like sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
Sci-fi, you're gonna have drama, you're gonna have comedies, you're gonna have some really heavy action type movies, and some that are leaning towards horror based. And I think that's where superhero movies.
It's not sci-fi is not the cliche that it used to be.
Right.
And I think superhero movies now, you have things like The Dark Knight, like Logan, like this, that you could show to a non-comic book fan and be like, this, no, like there are some interesting fucking stories that can be told from comic books. Comic books can be used as an inspiration, and these adaptations can be as good as every other kind of movie. I don't think there's a stigma anymore from like the early 2000s, like it's a comic book movie. No, it's just a fucking film. It's a film that can be a very fucking good piece if you allow it to be. If you let creative people be fucking creative.
Exactly. And I think that it wouldn't hurt for the filmmakers to say, hey, this is a Joker movie. This is an R-rated movie. And it's serious and might be a descent into madness, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're not into that,
don't come.
And you want to see some chuckles, you want to see Shazam?
And so let's see, I won't, toward the end of my showing, a father walked out with his two small children once it started getting really
That's not the first time I've heard of people walking out of this movie.
You know what, motherfucker? First of all, this movie's rated R.
Rated R.
Second of all, it's the fucking Joker. This isn't a goddamn Marvel movie. I don't know what you were expecting, but you're stupid for taking your children to this movie.
Yeah, what do you expect? What do you think they put the R rating for?
Yeah.
What is it? Did it surprise you that people got killed?
Because you can make
or something disturbing happened?
You can make the argument that, hey, Venom was about a quote-unquote bad guy. Right. This is not Venom.
Right.
This is so not Venom.
Right.
Let's wrap up this because I want to talk about spoilers.
Okay.
This was a very, 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 very good movie. Almost a great. I need to watch it again before I can give like an actual rating on it. I really loved it. I feel like you should watch it. It is worth your money. If you're gonna ask me the straight up question, whose Joker is better, Heath Ledger's versus Joaquin Phoenix? That's an interesting question. We'll talk about in spoilers because they are so not the same thing at all for reasons I'll talk about here in a few minutes. I was very, very, very surprised with this. This is the shock to me of the year because I've almost been completely right on what I thought movies were gonna be.
I was shocked at how good I thought it was.
Yes. It's not even like, I would have been shocked if I walked out and was like, oh, that was okay. No, I was literally like, this is one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah.
And that really impressed me. And I am not too big to be like, hey, internets, I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought this movie would suck, and it didn't suck. The whole structure thing about the DC universe, I still stand to, that's bullshit. But great movie.
They made a good movie.
They made a good
Warner
movie.
Brothers.
You made a good movie. That's step one. Now let's keep building with that. Okay, so we're going to give an official spoiler alert now. We're going to dive into what made this movie so good and so interesting. Weapon 2, why don't you throw some shit out there? What stood out to you?
Okay.
Tell the fans and the people who haven't seen maybe, like, what happens? What
I'm going to start with a couple of my favorite things about this.
Okay.
The number one, the visuals throughout.
Yes, very good.
Were awesome. The things that I loved the most, besides what you said, kind of like his body language and some of the facial stuff, is every time he would run, he would grab something and run, was classic Joker.
Comical.
Just running, and that's what you could see a comic book of just Joker running down the street, to even the last scene.
When he's running in front of the
order. Yeah. The last scene was one of the most
Joker.
Was just one of the smartest, subtle, kind of really artistic thing of him, where he's obviously killed the therapist, and all you see is him just moseying out of the room in his little handcuffs, leaving perfect tracks of blood
Bloody footprints.
all the way down the thing. And he's just kind of just moseying down, and he gets down, and then he starts running, and it's almost like, we saw Charlie Chaplin early in. It's almost a callback to Charlie Chaplin where people are running back and forth, chasing each other.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, wow, that is good. So that type of stuff I loved. All the visuals I loved. There was so much about this that I loved. I can't talk enough about how artistic I thought everything was, but here's what I didn't like about it. And I knew I wasn't going to like this before when I had talked about it. I was so into this movie about how good it was that I kind of forgot. It took Hailstorm to remind me because she brought it up, and I said, you're right. And this is what my biggest problem was with that. And that is that though it was an incredibly good story about a version of a Joker story, the Joker and what I expect in the Joker character and what Heath Ledger's Joker was a genius. He was always, no matter how crazy or nihilistic or anarchist he was about the smartest guy in the room. Mm-hmm. And so he could play mind games on even a smart guy like Batman or anybody else, and he could get your brain turned around, and he's the smartest guy. This guy is dumb as a box of rocks. He's a weak, feeble person, and he lacks the intelligence to be that Joker for me.
I have a caveat to that though.
And here's, I know you're gonna have all kinds of things to say.
Okay, go ahead.
The next thing to play on the weakness part is he does some very surprising things that I guess you could call kind of empowering, but overall, at the end of the day, in my opinion, he's still this weak, broken individual.
Yes.
No matter that he's done a couple of acts of violence, he's still a weak, broken individual, which also doesn't lend me to the character of Joker. And my third and final thing that bothered me a little bit, not very much, was the way that Thomas Wayne was portrayed in this.
Oh, yeah.
In that it was a struggle for me. In that I could appreciate the way he was portrayed in this story and this version, but I struggle with still wanting to have that character of Thomas Wayne as the hope for Gotham, the guy who wants the best for it, their best hope, and that lends to that puts more weight on the tragedy of him being murdered with Martha, and because he was. It's like we had somebody that was fighting for good and everything, and then we killed him. And so with him not being as polished and clean as that, it takes some of that away, and it's kind of a struggle for me. I get really ambivalent with stuff like that, where I'm like, well, I want this idealized thing too, but I can appreciate the other thing. And the way this story is more of kind of I feel like if they threw Batman into this, Batman would be a little more of a gray area too. I think that in this environment that they're in here, there's no 100% good, 100% bad. Lines are blurred.
Okay.
And so that's basically, I want to hear what you have to say now.
I need you to remember your points because I have shit to say about those.
Okay.
They're going to tie into what I would say. There's a lot to unpack here. This is going to be a long video, folks. Okay, so first of all, I kind of needed, the way I feel about this movie and things I have to say, I kind of got to go in order of like how this movie played out, right? So beginning of this movie, I was not on board with because, it was everything. The trailer showed a little too much. I'm going to point that out. The trailer shows kind of exactly how this movie starts. He's beat down, he's fucking working as this fucking clown, fucking the city's mean, and it jumps him. His mom's this fucking weirdo who's just like he's taken care of, and she keeps writing Thomas Wayne, being like, hey, you need to help me, and he's like, why? And she's like, because, I used to work for him, and we're family, and this is leading into my biggest thing that was going to piss me off in this movie, the rumor that he was going to be Bruce Wayne's illegitimate fucking brother, and the movie is like leading into that hard, and I was like, that better not fucking happen because it's gonna piss me off so fucking much, right? But the movie does a good job in showing his slow descent into madness, which is really cool. It sets up like shit that happened in his past with trauma and stuff like that, and why he is the way that he is. And the big thing that happens is that basically the state shuts down the funding for his therapist and for his meds, so all of a sudden he goes off his meds. And here is where we start seeing shit start really disintegrating. And I thought this is where the movie was truly brilliant, because the movie very much is shown from his perspective. And so a lot of the things that happen in the movie were a version of how he's seeing things happen, of his reality, which we find out later is not necessarily the way shit goes down.
Some of it were delusions.
Some of it were delusions, but the way the movie does it is brilliant. For example, the chick in the movie, which I can't remember, I'll put her name here. The relationship with her, that was weird. She's his neighbor, and they stumble across each other once in the hallway, and they don't even have like a moment of connection. They just kind of talk to each other. And then later, after spoilers, he murders people on the subway. He just walks right into her fucking door, knocks on it, opens it, just starts kissing her, and she just pulls him in while he's in full clown makeup. And apparently they fuck. And I'm like, oh, it's that easy? All right. Fucking who would fuck him? He's this weird, skinny, creepy fuck in clown. And then
she's like, oh, she's kind of good.
And then the rest of the movie, it's his girlfriend, right? He goes and tries to do stand-up comedy and fucking bombs because he can't stop the laughing.
She's laughing and being supportive.
And she's laughing and being supportive in the background. And then that scene kind of cuts. And you don't know if he was able to bring it back. Like you kind of did, because afterward they're walking around and laughing and joking and getting food, and she sees an article about the dudes that he shot. She's like, 3 more fucking rich pricks gone, fuck them. And I'm like, well, to be fair, they were not good people, but sure.
And she goes, that guy's my hero.
And that was the moment where I was like, this is all, and this is where I was literally like, I swear to God, if this is bullshit, if he's just tripped, if this is just his delusion, I was like, fuck movie, you are way better than him. And I was literally like, it's not gonna be that good. The movie's not that good. This is what I would do in the movie. The movie's not gonna be that clever. No fucking. But then they do that so brilliantly because she's not on screen enough for you to be like, no, this is bullshit. It's just like when his mom has a stroke or whatever, she's fucking there.
They Sixth Sensed us.
They did, but just enough to where you're kind of calling bullshit, but you don't know if the movie's doing it yet. But there are hints to him about fucking, the not being on the medication, about shit here and there, right? So then the reveal happens when he goes to her apartment again and just walks in and sits on the couch. She's in the fucking bedroom with the kid, walks out and is fucking terrified and is like, what the fuck? Who are you? Your name is whatever. You live down the street. Why are you in my fucking house? You need, and it's visually terrified. She's like, you need to leave. And he's just sitting there creepy as fuck, like, what? And then it shows you all of that was his delusion.
Right.
None of that happened. And I was just like, fuck, movie? I was like, and then I was literally like, the only thing I would have done different, my reveal would have been, he walks in there and just sees her fucking corpse. Because when he thinks he walked in and started making out with her, he opens the door, tries to do it, she fights him, and he fucking murders her.
Right.
And I was like, but that might be a little too dark. But then when he leaves, you hear sirens and shit in the back, and then you never see her again, so it's kind of left open. It's like, did he murder her? I think he murdered her.
Well, the sirens went past. I was listening to the same thing. I was going, are the sirens coming? And then I heard them go past.
I like to think he murdered her.
And I had a conversation with old Hellstar about that. I go, do you think he murdered her daughter?
I think he murdered her.
And she was like, nah. And I go, why don't you think that? She goes, well, when they murdered the therapist, they showed blood. I go, well, that doesn't mean that he didn't murder her too.
I feel like he murdered her. So,
I'm with you. I don't know.
So his other snapping point happens. He gets his ass kicked because they steal. He's on the fucking street and he's flipping the sign, and those fucking stupid teenagers steal the sign, break the sign on him, beat the shit out of him, right? So now he's carrying a gun that some other asshole gave him. He fucking gets fired. So it's literally just his breakdown from
the guy snitches him out. He tried to buy a gun. He doesn't say I gave him a gun. He says he tried to buy a gun from him. I didn't sell it to him.
Yeah. But he's creepy as fuck. That's fair, right? And so
the guy dirtbags him.
He does.
That's why he got what he deserved.
So, but then these fucking Wall Street dicks. I think they work for Wayne.
Yeah, he's one of their employees. He's valued a part of his family. You remember when he went on there? He said they're part of the Wayne family.
They're getting very rapey on the subway.
And Joker's mom goes, yeah, we're part of the family. So she used to work for him.
They're displaying a lot of rapey vibes.
Yeah.
Joker starts laughing frantically because he's the Joker. They start beating the shit out of him, and then he murders them with the gun that he has. And here's the thing. I feel like this movie is interesting because part of you's like, yeah, fuck them. Those are terrible fucking people. But the other part of you is like, well, murder's not cool. But here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people's issue with this movie and a lot of like the media and all that is like kind of how we're gonna hold up the Joker and like look at this movie and people are gonna be like, oh, he's gonna be a role model and he shouldn't be. At no point in this movie is he ever romanticized. At no point in this movie do you ever look at his life and be like, oh fuck, I want that. No, his life is fucking terrible. He's a fucking crazy person. No, at no moment in this movie do you ever feel like, oh, that's me. No, you're just like, no, this is fucking terrible.
Well, by the end of the movie, he does rise to cult celebrity status.
And so getting to that.
Yeah.
Okay. He starts killing people, starts murdering people. He starts like, in everything he does, every act of violence, right? He murders his mom because he finds out that his mom's writing these letters to Thomas Wayne saying, hey, me and your son need your help. This irritated me too. So he shows up at Wayne Manor, little Bruce is there, and the kid in the trailer, the gate, that's totally Bruce. And he just like walks up to the kid, and he's doing some magic, and then he gets his fingers in his face and makes him smile. And I'm like, what fucking kid is just gonna stand there
and
allow some fucking stranger to just walk up and do that to him?
No, it's right. And what about completely ineffective Alfred? Was that Alfred that
I had to be Alfred.
The least effective portrayal of Alfred. Alfred was at least a capable person who can handle some business. And this guy is like getting like grab my bars again.
Some versions of Alfred would fuck you up at that age. Okay, but anyway, so that was totally, and that kid couldn't act even in the later scenes. He's just looking fucking dumbfounded. But whatever. So finds out, he goes and tracks down Thomas, has an interaction with him, finds out, no, your mom's just fucking batshit fucking crazy. He goes to Arkham, gets the paperwork, finds out, no, and this is really fucking horrifying, finds out her backstory, how she's delusional, how he was adopted, her boyfriends used to fucking beat him and shit like that. That's probably the reason he's fucked up and has brain damage. His mom's a crazy cunt. Spoiler alert, right? So this is the moment now when he becomes the Joker. This movie is about him becoming the Joker. He goes to the hospital, realizes my life's not a tragedy, it's a comedy, fucking smothers his mom. At that moment on, he's becoming the Joker, right? And this is where the movie takes that hard turn for me because the first part of the movie, he's not the Joker at all, right? Now he starts doing Joker shit. Then all of a sudden that dude that said that he tried to buy the gun but gave him the gun that got him framed, him and the fucking midget clown show up and Joker just straight up murders him. And this is where the movie
murders the big guy.
Done him wrong. Straights him in the fucking neck, in the face, all that. And this movie really had an American Psycho vibe to it. Yeah. And I mean that in a great way because I fucking love that movie. I don't know what that says about me. But from his journal with all the crazy fucking shit that he read in it, from how violent the murder was to how all of a sudden he's just sitting there having a casual conversation. Like, I was like, what the fuck?
Blood splattered all
over him, just nuts.
And then you don't know what he's gonna do to
you don't know, is he gonna kill the midget guy? The midget guy's terrified, by the way.
The midget's in there going, he can't figure it out. He's saying he can go, but you know that stuff can always go wrong. Yeah. He has to walk past him. You know what's gonna happen? That was hilarious.
This is the funniest scene of the whole fucking movie.
The midget gets to the door and he can't reach all the locks. So he has to ask the Joker.
So I need to point this out. So Joker's sitting there, back against the wall, covered in blood, body's next to him. So the midget has to walk around and over them to get to the door. And he tries, he's like, oh my god.
And Joker's like, no, he's like, finally I got past him, let me get out here. And he's like, oh no!
This is where Joker, the real Joker, can have tremendous acts of violence, but so funny because he's like, oh, just don't look at it, just go. Like, he's being funny. And he tries to reach for it, can't get it. And then the look on the dude's face is so funny because, so here's how you know I'm broken on the inside. Literally, this is one of those scenes where we weren't supposed to laugh at, but as he reaches and can't get it, the rest of my theater is horrified. Yeah. Horrified. Some people went, oh, like scared for him because he couldn't. Me and my friend next to me lost our shit laughing. Just lost it laughing. And we're just like, oh. So loud to the point where like we stop and look around and like, no one else? That's just us? Okay.
So he has to ask the Joker to come unlock it, and you still think,
oh,
this can still go bad.
It's gonna go terrible.
No, he opens it, says, hey, thanks for being so nice to me, and gives him a kiss on the forehead.
But before that, as he's walking by, like as he's about to step over them, Joker's like, rah! And he's like, exactly. And Joker laughs, and I'm like, that's a total Joker moment. Yeah. So then all of a sudden, he tries to do the stand-up comedy bombs, so like they see the tape of him doing this on that show that Robert De Niro hosts that he's a big fan of. Robert De Niro plays the joke. Murray plays the fucking the video of him and makes terrible fun of him. They contact him and want him to come on the show, right? So if you've read The Killing Joke, or not The Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns. So I thought they were taken from The Dark Knight Returns when Joker goes onto the show and murders fucking everybody in that room, right? That's not what they were doing. So the scene happens when he's agreed to go on the show, and he's playing the show in the background of his apartment, and he's like walking out, pretending to do the entrance and all this, and sitting down.
Do you want to skip over the whole havoc he causes on the subway with the cops chasing him, and he basically gets the cop to shoot an innocent person and gets him attacked by everybody?
I'm gonna get this happened before that. This is him when he's practicing, and we see that. We see that what his plan is, why he's agreed to go on the show, knowing that they're gonna make fun of him and shit, is he's gonna go on the show, sit down, and he's like, "Hi, how you doing? Hi, audience." Da, 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 da. He's like, "You want to hear a joke?" Knock, knock. Pulls out the gun and pulls the trigger on his face. He's gonna go commit suicide on the show,
right?
Because he wrote in the book earlier, "I hope my fucking death means more in my life," or some shit like that.
Makes more sense
than my life.
Sense spelled S-C-E-N-T-S.
So I'm like, okay, so this is what, and I really was like, okay, this is what he's gonna do. Now, tell what happened on the way there.
So on the way there, another awesome scene is him dancing down the stairs as the Joker, just dancing all the way down the stairs, doing crazy stuff, these crazy body moves, and then by the time he gets down to the bottom, you see there's kind of a blurred couple figures at the top of the stairs. Well, it's police. They start calling him. He takes off running.
Running all Joker.
Yeah, they're chasing him. They're running all around. He runs onto the subway. They're chasing him still. Everybody on there is in clown masks and everything because there are all these demonstrations ever since
he's kind of started a movement.
Yeah, ever since he killed those Wall Street people, there's all these movements of people dressing up like clowns. He puts on one of the masks. He's running. They can't get to him. The cop's got his gun out. He accidentally shoots some guy. You find out later the cop killed that guy. And then so everybody kind of turns on the police and they attack them and start taking them down.
Mini riot starts.
And he escapes from there. So that was his first kind of how he spurred all this pandemonium and chaos.
Which my only thing was he kind of spurs this movement between the have and the have-nots, right? So all of the Gotham wealthy are depicted as being these douchebags, and that is the thing that Thomas Wayne is depicted as being kind of an asshole in this, which I didn't like either, because to me, Thomas Wayne is a symbol of hope, and he is a symbol of, like, you know, that 1% that, you know, doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. He did. He cared. He tried. And that is the inspiration to Bruce to, like, hey, you know, it's on us to protect our city and to make our city better and all that. And in the wake of their tragedy, part of what inspires him to do what he does is his father, right? And so you lose that. But kind of my argument to that the other way is, so this entire movie is from the perspective of Joker and what he sees. It's very possible that in this timeline, yeah, Thomas might be a dick, but to little Bruce's perspective, his dad was a fucking hero, so that's still inspiring. He doesn't know any different, so that might still work. So anyway, so Joker shows up on set, and he's like, hey, introduce me as Joker, does this whole thing, comes out, and this is where he was the most Joker of anything in this fucking movie. He walks out, and he's just doing his little strut, doing his thing. The previous guest who was on there walks up and just starts fucking making out with her so creepily.
She's like, who's the Dr. Ruth?
Yeah, Dr. Ruth.
So she's
French is Dr. Ruth.
So she's like a Dr. Ruth person on there. So she's like one of these old ladies that talks about sex, like Dr. Ruth, and he walks up and full-on lip kisses her. Just mouth kisses her.
And then he like cups it off and he like sits down, and the look on her face, she's sold it, because she's like, what the fuck just happened? And so then he sits down and has this conversation with the De Niro character, and it's really cool because before he goes out there, actually, they're replaying the clip of him bombing in the stand-up comedy, and I still think up until that moment he was gonna kill himself.
Yeah.
And then it's panning to him, and he's smoking, and he's looking evil as fuck. That's when he changed his mind, I think.
I think almost up until he sat down and pulled out and looked at his book.
He was still 50-50. Yeah, but I think that's...
Because you think when he reaches back for his book,
he thought
he's reaching for the gun.
This movie subverts expectations a lot. And he gives like this big fucking monologue about how pissed he's getting and, you know, how society... I can't remember the quote. Can you remember what he says at the end there? It's quite good. But anyway, he goes on this whole thing, you know, De Niro's trying to make fun of him.
He just talks about how mean and horrible everybody are, and how mean and horrible, you know, Mari is, and all that. He just
and how he used to think Mario was like his hero, and now he knows he's just as bad as fucking everyone else. And he's like, what the fuck do you expect to happen when you have a guy who's like mentally ill and society takes away everything from him and gives him fucking nothing? Like, what do you expect to happen, basically? Right. And then he pulls the gun out, he delivers a line way better, I can't remember it, and just straight up shoots De Niro in the head.
Yeah.
Just pops him right in the fucking head. Yeah. And the impact of it is very impressive. Everyone freaks out surrounding. And then this is, again, Joker moment. Then he gets up, does like this weird half little strut, turns, and kind of just like lazily shoots him again. Yeah. Then like drops the gun, walks up to the camera, and then starts trying to say shit to it.
But before he did that, when he shot him the first time and everybody's running like crazy, he just kind of reclines back on the chair and he's like kind of like ta-da, and then he gets up like you said and shoots him again and then comes and does his camera.
So this movie is about his transformation into the Joker. A lot of the reasons why the first part of this movie wasn't really landing for me is because I was literally just like, this isn't Joker. This is not the Joker. But then you realize it's his transformation into Joker. It is his descent into becoming this character. It is his descent into madness. You know, as they talked about him not having the pills and anything like that. And little by little, he starts doing more Joker-ish shit. To where at the end there, and then the cops tackle him off camera, and he's in the cop car, they're bending him away. As riots are happening, as protests are happening, like people are burning shit and flipping cars and all that. Then all of a sudden, an ambulance crashes into the cop car, and two guys in Joker masks pull him out, put him on top of a car, and everyone's around in Joker masks, like mobbing and rioting and all that. Joker comes to, this is brilliant. This was fucking brilliant. He fucking stands up, sees everything that's happening, starts kind of doing his little dance, realizes there's blood in his
makeup's faded.
Makeup's faded. Reaches in, gets with blood, and then does the fucking. Oh, I was like, oh, it was coming at that point. I was like, God damn it, this is it. And so now, all of a sudden, he's the Joker. Now, and this is where the movie's also quite brilliant. As this is happening, right, we see Thomas, Martha, and little Prissy running out of Zorro. Down the back alley trying to get the fuck out of this, and then some random thug in a Joker mask is like, hey, these motherfuckers, hey! Bam! Kills Thomas and Martha, rips the pearls off, have Bruce have his moment of holy fuck. His parents got murdered, not by Joker, but influenced through the actions of this character, and it was still a random street crime that did it, so I was totally on board with it. Right. Didn't expect that tie-in, that was brilliantly done. And to me, this is where you argue, what's better, Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix? To me, Heath Ledger is still my favorite performance. Right. And my argument is because he's the Joker already. He's the Joker at that point. He's going up against Batman. Right. He's fucking tactical. He's methodical. He's insane, not crazy. Right. And he's proficient in everything, right? This Joaquin Phoenix portrayal is very much about a person becoming the Joker. Now, I don't think there's...
But he will never be the Joker because he's not smart enough.
But...
He's just not smart enough.
But if there's a sequel, though, and he is the Joker...
A dumb person cannot become smart.
Right, that is true. His intelligence, but if he descends further into madness, the shit that he could do could be fucking...
But I'm just saying, I don't care that his writing was incoherent, that he didn't write well. He has to show
intelligence,
the intelligence and brilliance to pull off
some of the shit that Joker does.
The type of stuff that Joker does. And he never will. His character never will.
It's a different type of Joker. Right. Also, to add to that, Joker can fight. Right? People don't know that. But unless you're someone like Batman, Joker would fuck you up hand to hand, right? They showed that in The Dark Knight. This guy also, I'm pretty sure I could take him. He has tremendous acts of violence and he's capable of violence, and like that's shown in this movie. He is not... Like, if his Joker fought Heath Ledger's Joker would destroy him.
He's capable of violence just like your average, any average, ordinary person who decides to commit violence is
could commit violence.
But he doesn't have any fighting skill.
He could snap and just surprisingly stab you in the neck. If he snapped and went after Heath Ledger's Joker with a knife, that knife would be in his fucking eyeball. That's the difference. So there are traditional aspects of the Joker character that was the version Heath Ledger was portraying that was brilliant. And that's why that's the more traditional version of the Joker. That's my version of the Joker. That's why I love that more. Do I think Joaquin Phoenix is capable of playing that? Fuck yeah. Is that his Joker? No. That's not
right. No, he could have played it, and the script said so. The script was just
this is different. Now, and that being said, that's why it's like you can make the argument either way because they're two different Jokers. They're very different. I prefer Heath Ledger's better, but this is a different take.
Well, one is capable of striking terror. The other guy just aimlessly stumbles and lucks.
The subway.
He had no control
Right.
over the way that final outcome happened.
Right.
It just happened.
Right.
It just happened.
Even when he was getting away from the cops through the train,
Right.
I was literally like,
Had
that's
nothing to do.
I was like, that's convenient. It's
Heath
convenient
Ledger-
this is happening.
Heath Ledger would have set all that up.
It would have planned it on
Right.
purpose. Yes.
But this guy, he's just like, you're going to prison.
But-
I don't know, prison, Arkham, I don't know where
Exactly.
I'm going. And they rescued him.
Right.
You know?
But for the story this movie was telling,
Yeah.
this character worked.
Right.
It worked very well. It's not, again, Heath Ledger's Joker's better, but it's hard to compare the two because they're so radically different. And unless you really know the character, you might not get why they're so different.
Right.
But you're right. Overall, though, I think I feel. Was there any other points that you wanted to mention?
I just said that he wasn't intelligent.
Yeah,
he's
he's
kind
not.
of weak, feeble guy, and he still is, even though he's done a couple
Right.
things, and then the whole Thomas Wayne thing.
So yeah, that's the thing. The Thomas Wayne thing, being the dad, was what was gonna piss me off. Once they reeled that back, I really got more on board with the movie. Once I realized, this is his origin and it's him becoming the Joker. It's not a Joker movie. Yeah, and so back to your original point, leading up to the movie, why you thought this was an issue is like, hey, this doesn't need to be called the Joker. It doesn't need to be a Joker movie.
Right.
If this were just a random, here's the thing. If this were just a random ass movie about a dude descending into madness and doing some violent, crazy shit at the end, I promise you Joaquin Phoenix would win an Oscar. And I
Right.
promise you this movie would be nominated for an
Right.
Oscar. But because it's not, because it's DC, which the DC shit doesn't need to be added to it. It's not inherent to the character. Because of that, it's probably not going to get
He
Oscar
could just be some random guy who
Could be.
dresses up like a clown.
He could be.
Take the Joker out of it, and this would have
You
been
can,
just as good
and you
a
can
movie.
negate the clown thing and put something else in there. But still, anything. So it would be just as good of a movie. It doesn't need to be comic book affiliated, but that's going to keep it from getting the recognition it should.
Right.
And it's also like, your point still stands. It didn't need to be a Joker movie.
Right.
But it's a damn good fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Sure is.
It also doesn't need to be tied in or a part of any other universe because,
Right.
again, the age difference between he and Bruce, that's totally not a thing in most continuities. So it is very much a standalone. It is an Elseworld story. It does not need to be tied to any kind of continuity, and that's fine. I'm actually very okay
But
with that.
we know how DC works. If it makes a bunch of money, they'll try to make another one.
All of a sudden, the Joker and fucking Twilight Sparkle Boys Batman's gonna be fucking Joaquin Phoenix. But, okay, I think I've said everything that I needed to say about this movie. I feel like this is a long review. To wrap up, great movie, really liked it. I was surprised, I was wrong, I did end up liking it, didn't think I would. Any closing thoughts? Thank you for joining us on this episode of The World's Greatest News Reviews. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe.
Peace.